welcome to my channel and a happy 2022. I hope you've all had a lovely New Year's Eve. This is the first video I'm filming and uploading in the new year. I took a little break, I think everyone did, but I'm going to run at full steam again this year and upload 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah, I have a lot of interesting ideas that I still wanted to do, that I actually wanted to do in December, but that I'm just transferring to January. And there are some things that I'd like to talk about, so I thought we'd do a get ready with me. I always focus mainly on the products that I use, but I will share some little things here and there about my plans for the coming year. So if that all sounds interesting to you, then please continue watching. And if you like this video, then please consider subscribing. Now let's get into it. I forgot my ears, so I'm going to have to make a high ponytail. One of the things that are actually high on my list of things to do this month is touching up my roots. My mom does that for me, so she will later this week. As you can see from the background, I'm at my parents' house and they still have their Christmas ornaments and tree and everything up until tomorrow, January 6th. Alright, we can get started. My hair is well out of the way. And a little while ago I did a video using my 2 favorite Huda Beauty palettes together, the Wild Jaguar and the new Rose Quartz. And I wanted to do that again. Someone of you, I don't know who, was very kind and said that if I did, she would watch it. So let's see if that's true. I thought I would do it in this get ready with me style, so you know, if you're not interested in those palettes again, then there's probably something else that you do like, I hope. I really love both of these palettes. I love using them on their own. I like using them together. I did multiple times since I filmed that video. So I hope I can do something interesting with it again. So I'm going to prime my eyes using my Icing Primer by Glamlight in the shade Classic Vanilla. As I'm filming this, I've actually yesterday purchased my first Glamlight palette. It's on its way right now. It's the Ice Cream Dream palette. I've been wanting that for almost 2 years, ever since it came out. I finally just decided that I wanted to buy it. I guess it's that I'm really starting to feel some spring vibes, and for me, spring and winter vibes are sort of the same. Pastels, cool tones. Those are the kind of things I like to wear in winter, and that easily transforms into spring vibes, which are also quite pastel mostly. So I figured I'd get that palette now and then get my use out of it as well in the winter as in the spring. So let me show you again. This is the Wild Jaguar palette. And I think I want to use this nice sparkly purple shade, as well as the matte black in this palette. But that would be kind of similar to what I did last time. I'll figure something out. So I'm starting off with the Rose Quartz palette. I'm going into this shade over here called Happiness with a medium fluffy brush. And I'm going to put this all the way through my crease. I'm going to do a halo eye with pink and grey. See if I can leave out the purple this time. So yeah, one of my New Year's resolutions, makeup wise, is that I buy more what I'm interested in instead of what's new. So that's what I did with the Glamlight palette. That's actually pretty old. And last year I would have skipped it and waited for something else that was newer, but this year I thought, well, if I have the money now, let's just get what I actually want and then still do a video with it. And I think my channel is not so heavily new makeup based anyway. I do a lot of older makeup videos as well, and get ready with me's and project pans and stuff like that. And I'll still buy new things, of course, but if there's not any new release that I actually want, then I'll just buy something old, if I want it. I think I'll have more fun with my makeup that way. Also just going to put this all the way through the lower lash line. And I'm wiping up my of my brush and I'm going into the shade Cherished, which is this very pale pink. And I'm going to use that to blend out the edges. So another goal for my channel is that I would really like to hit 1K before the end of this year. I think I started uploading regularly exactly a year ago and I think it went pretty well. I'm almost at 400 subscribers, which I'm very grateful about. And you know, if you have 1K and 4,000 hours watched, you can actually apply for the YouTube program, which would be very exciting. So yeah, that would be my next goal. And I think that's it for my YouTube, Instagram. I don't really have Instagram goals. Maybe post a little bit more frequently, but I have been doing that lately. Alright, I'm skipping over to the Jaguar palette and I'm going into the black shade with a tinier blending brush, almost a pencil brush. And I'm going to add this to the outer and inner corner of my eye. So yeah, those YouTube, Instagram goals, they don't really matter to me. I like doing this as a hobby and I'm very content just doing it like this. But it is always nice to realize what you would like to accomplish at some point. I do, however, have some personal goals, or actually just one big goal that I'm working on as from last Saturday. And that is to just live a little bit healthier. I think that's the goal for most people. But I started to stress eat a little bit. And that's a habit I'd like to get rid of. And I'd also like to pick up my working out schedule again. So just in general, live a little bit healthier, a little bit more conscientious of what you eat and what you exercise. But the fun thing is, I'm actually not doing it alone this time. I've of course had goals like this in the past. But it's hard to do it alone. But this year my boyfriend is actually going to work out and eat less with me. So yeah, that's just a very basic but important goal. If there are any things that you'd like me to do on YouTube or Instagram, or ideas for me for series that I can start using older makeup, or topics that you'd like me to discuss in Get Ready With Me, palettes that you'd like me to use, I don't know, whatever, just let me know in the comments. They're really always very helpful. So that went from pretty and pink to dark and dramatic very quickly. I'm going to add a little bit more actually. This black from the Huda palette, it's nice and it's buildable. But it does actually take a little while to build up to its full intensity. I think that's good. I think that's all I'm going to do with the black. Let me get back into my fluffy brush. Take a little bit more of that pink shade Happiness. I'm just going to blend out the edges. I am curious to see if maybe I can use some better brushes for my blending. My brushes are all pretty cheap. I do like them to be synthetic. So Refer or something like that is not an option. But I do like the shapes that Refer provides. So I have been thinking about getting the Blend Bunny brushes. God, that's difficult. Those small blending brushes that she came out with. I'm not sure if it's available outside of the US, but if it is, I have my eye on those. I think it'll make looks like this more easy. But I think this is a nice base. Now I'm going into the Jaguar palette again, and I think I'm going to use this gunmetal shade over here. I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to tap that in the middle of my eye. I'm doing 2 layers. Yeah, that's pretty cool. What do you think? I think this is pretty nice. I'm taking a small smudger brush and now I feel like going back into the Huda Beauty palette again. And I'm taking the shade Blissful, which is this one. And I'm going to put that underneath my lower lashes in the center. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Just a little bit different than what's on top. I'm taking the same brush and I'm going into Self Love, which is this shade over here. I'm trying to focus mainly in the white part of the shade and I'm putting this in my inner corner. I wish this shade was a little bit lighter. It's sort of the same depth as my skin tone. And I wish it was just a little bit more bright pink. And I think that's it for the eyeshadow. What do you think? It still looks sort of purple. I really try to avoid the purple shades, but I guess there's really no avoiding purple whenever you're using this palette. But again, the combination between these two palettes is wonderful, and I guess there were still other looks I could do with them. So that's nice. Let me just add some mascara and eyeliner and then we'll continue. I'm back. I finished up my eyes using these two eyeliners from Essence, a silver one in my lower lashes and a black one to tightline. And I'm also using the Essence Lash Princess still. It's still going strong. It is starting to dry up by now. I'm going to buy the Catrice one again, I think. The Lift Up. I like that one. I want to use it again. See if I still like it. Oh, and I also put a little bit of brow freeze from ABH in my brows already. Thought that would be a boring step. So yeah, I'm basically finished talking about all my resolutions. Like I said, I don't want to make resolutions too big. They have to be achievable. If you want to do 20 different things, then it's highly likely that you're not going to do any of those. That's one of my lessons from earlier years. So I decided to take it slow, make a couple of resolutions for my life, for my channel, for my studies, of course, just to continue it. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that. But we can focus on the skin a little bit more. Okay, for primer, I'm going into my YSL Blurring Primer. I think this is the Touche Éclat. Yeah, the Touche Éclat Blur Primer. This is my favorite primer. One of my favorite discoveries from last year. That's, by the way, also something I've realized, that even though I've only been doing this for a couple of years now, or on Instagram, on YouTube only a year, there are already so many favorites in my collection that I'm still loving and actually keep rediscovering how much I love them. And I have a pretty big collection already. So I realized that I want to keep playing with those things. I don't want to be one of those people that keeps buying new things and never thinks about the old things again until she starts decluttering them. I want to love the things that I own. So if you have any ideas on how to implement those older products, or if you like Get Ready With Me's without any new products, then let me know. Like I said, I'll always keep buying new stuff because I like doing that, but maybe a little bit less than last year. For foundation, I'm going into my Airbrush Flawless Foundation from Charlotte Tilbury. I always pump out 2 pumps, but it's usually a little bit too much. I've been preferring this foundation over the Guerlain foundation lately. I did rank this one below it, but I think I really like the color of this one. It's a little bit less neutral than the Guerlain foundation. A little bit more yellow tone, so I feel like it matches my skin a little bit better. And I like the way that it's not completely matte like the Guerlain one. It's actually more of a natural finish. And I've been preferring that lately. Ooh, I am dying to try out the new Charlotte Tilbury foundation, by the way, the skin tint. It hasn't released yet where I usually buy my Charlotte Tilbury stuff. If you're from around here, Charlotte Tilbury is for sale at the Bijenkorf. That way you don't have to pay customs. But I don't think it launched there yet. See, it oxidizes a little bit and then it's actually quite the perfect shade for me. Don't you agree? Makes me look very pale, of course, but I am very pale. Keep that in mind. For concealer, I'm going into my Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. I think that's the full name. In the shade Cloud. By the way, the Charlotte Tilbury foundation I have in the shade 1N. Blending it out with my beauty blender. Ooh, something that's also on my bucket list for this year, and I know it's a bit of a far stretch, but I'd love to do a collab with someone on YouTube. I have made a couple of friends over the last year that I met through Instagram that I follow on YouTube, and I know, or at least I think they also still follow me. I'd like to approach one of them and suggest a collab. I just haven't, I haven't really dared to dream that big yet. I'm going to use my cream blush stick from Clarins. This is the Glow to Go. This is a dual-ended stick in the color 1, Glowy Pink. This was actually in my project pan last year. Which about that, I don't think I'm going to do a final project pan update. The last 2 months I really didn't pan anything anymore and I didn't reach any of my goals. I did learn a lot from doing it for a couple of months, and I think I have some better ideas for my project pan for this year. I'll upload that video somewhere next week. I'll definitely keep panning, but I'll be a little bit more mindful about the stuff that I'm putting in my project pan. It does need to excite me, otherwise I don't feel like using it. So it can't just be old garbage that I want to get rid of. That's one of the lessons that I've learned. For powder, I'm going into my Essence Brighten Up powder. I use this a lot. It's actually my go-to powder. I'm still looking for a better one. One with a little bit more substance. Even a little bit more brightening, maybe? But this is a good light powder for me. So let me quickly finish up my brows. I'm going to take the NYX Lift and Snatch. I am starting to really like this technique to fill in your brows with one of these pens. But I don't think the color of this one, this is taupe, I don't think it's quite right for me. It somehow always looks a little bit red. I think today it actually looks alright. I think it matters how wet the ABH Brow Freeze still is. I think it just turns a little bit red when it's still wet. Yeah, this looks okay. A little bit wonky actually. Let's just call it okay. For my bronzer, I'm actually going into my Dior bronzer, the Forever Natural Nude. I know I keep recycling a lot of the same products, and that's because I have this bag that I fill with everything that I use once. And then I just keep reusing the stuff in that bag for the next couple of months. And those are usually my favorites. But I do intend to shuffle a little bit more with my products in the coming months. I think I'm going to do sort of an unofficial Shop My Stash, where I change out the everyday makeup bag every month or so. Because this is it. This is my everyday makeup bag. It's very full. I mean, it has some good staples in it. This bronzer is beautiful, for instance. But I mean, I do have other bronzers that I also like to use. For highlighter, I'm going into my Dior palette. And I'm going to take this shade, which is It doesn't really show on camera, but this is pink and this is peach. In real life there's a bigger difference, but I'm going to use this one. I really like this highlighter. It's pretty subtle, but it's nice. It's light pink. It matches these eyeshadows perfectly. Also going to take my blush brush and take a little bit of this shade over here, which on me is a nice pink glowy blush. Just going to put a little bit of that on my cheeks. I like that. For some reason I always want to use this lipstick. I know a nude is probably prettier, but I just want to use this one. This is Fuchsia Perfect from Pat McGrath. I know these kind of lipsticks are prettiest with neutral eyes, but I never do neutral eyes. I do something pretty glam. And I know everyone's getting sick of me using Live It Up by Charlotte Tilbury, so let me just do something fun instead. I actually don't think that's bad at all. What do you think? Kind of matches the pink from my eyes. I do get very strong 80s vibes from this lipstick. Do we like it? Do we like this one a little bit more? Maybe, but I'm going to end the video here because I wanted to do something different and that was apparently also one of my resolutions. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, let me know any recommendations that you have for me. Subscribe if you like this video and I will see you in the next one.